it's Crystal, and I'm here with another scrapbook layout for you today. This is going to be a 12 by 12 page um, of my 38th birthday that happened several years ago. I was just looking through some of my stuff and I saw these pictures and I was like, let me scrap. I wanted to scrap this, take a break from my 2024 album. So I kind of was also looking through some of my older albums and was using them for inspiration. And I used to do a lot of layering of papers. So I knew that I wanted to kind of pull in some of the pink and yellow that are in that picture there with the desserts, as well as kind of get some of the um, the iridescent uh, numbers that were there in the cake. So like I said, I pulled out a bunch of orange, yellow, and pink, kind of on that spectrum of colors. Also some letters that I had that have those rainbow iridescent and that mirrored paper there as well. So basically all I'm going to do is I'm going to build layer after layer. Some of these you see that I trim with my trimmer, and then some I'm kind of just going to do hand trimming. Also, I was going to add some doodling into this. I used to do a lot of more doodling to my layouts way back when, and I wanted to incorporate that as well in this. So like I said, I'm just going to build on layers. So here I'm just kind of placing the papers to see which ones would work and um, how I liked the different layers built. And these are all scraps, honestly, that I'm using. I didn't really want to use any new paper. I think the background paper has a little bit of a design to it. It's not just plain white, but I wanted to um, use all these scraps that I have that have just been piling up in my little scrap bag that I have. And so that's how I'm just going to build on this page. And so you can see it's not like all completely lined up. It's not completely nicely horizontal or vertical. Um, it's just, they're kind of just layered there. So I'm just going to kind of layer that out, and then I'm now going to start, like I said, doodling on them. I'm just going to do some doodle lines around the edges here in a moment. So just doing straight lines, or a straight line in my thing, 2 or 3 straight lines around the edges here, just to give these pages a little bit more dimension in those layers. And then just kind of gluing them down. And I'm just using, I think, a Sharpie pen here. And like I said, I was kind of looking through some of my older layout albums to skip for some inspiration of what I could do. And actually, this is kind of, I had a layout that was, I did an 8 by 8 layout probably about like 12 years ago, 12, 13 years ago. And I was using that as my inspiration and just kind of enlarging that layout style here into this 12 by 12. Funny thing is, I didn't realize I had already scrapped this 38th birthday. Um, that's probably why these photos were in my stash of stuff, because they were a group of photos I had. But that's okay. I'll have 2 pages dedicated to that birthday. I think in the other one I really didn't journal as much, if I remember correctly. And this one I am going to add some journaling later on. So I'm just doing like some little bumps there around the edge of that photo just to kind of make that pop out a little bit. Adding this photo here to kind of thing. So my idea too was that I wanted to have, kind of going back to when I did my 40th birthday, I wanted to have the big numbers here. So I thought about embossing the number 38 and then cutting them out. So I'm going to test that out here in a moment and see how that goes. So I pulled 2 embossing powders. I got a black and a silver just to see which one would look best. And I think I was going with the silver just because we kind of already have that grayish and that's mirrored frame there. So I'm going to scatter it on and then I'm gonna have to redo it because I didn't ink it well enough. So now I'm redoing it and I am going to dust the number 38 on here. And as I was doing this, it just didn't feel right to me. Like I just wasn't liking one, I think the paper didn't help, and I just wasn't caring for how the 38 was coming out here. So I'm just gonna kind of clean it up and then I will quickly heat it up to emboss it and we'll just skip ahead to see how it comes out. And like it's okay, but again, I just didn't care for how it looked and I didn't think it would work for what I wanted here. So I'm gonna start to kind of cut it out. And even like I said, even as I was cutting it out, it just, I don't know, I wasn't feeling it. Because I even thought about not posting it like that, but cutting out each individual number there and stuff. So I looked through my stash here and I found these Studio Calico numbers that I had. And it worked great. I liked, this is the effect that I wanted to go with. However, I like the 3 and I like the 8. But the color, the green 8 just didn't work for me. So I thought, okay, maybe I can do the date of my birthday. It still wasn't working, so I just got to do 38. So then I came up with the idea of, okay, I have my Cricut Joy. I can make these numbers with that. And I even thought maybe let me add some texture here. And I had some fake or faux leather that I had purchased for another project. And yeah, so I am going to try that. So here I am with my Cricut Joy. I did the number 38 on my computer and I cut down some orange faux leather that I had and I'm going to have the machine printed out. I did notice that it recommended that I do it upside down when I looked up online how to do this. It does move it just a slightly, but it didn't affect the number, so it comes out pretty clean. Um, and here you see him pulling it off the 38 and just kind of cleaning up real quick. And I'm going to get out that paper, my layout. And so it has the same effect that I wanted. It has the big 38. I like the texture of it. I don't know if now looking back at it, if I love the color of the orange. Maybe I would like it a little bit brighter or a different shade of orange, but it'll work for this layout. So then I'm just gonna add some more, thought about adding some more strips here just to give some more dimension. I think I just had them laying there and just to use them up. And there, yeah, just tucking that one in over there. Um, Adding the doodles just to keep it cohesive. Adjusting, just fidgeting with it a little bit. I'm going to use these, excuse me, silver thickers, I think are, um, what's that? Michael's brand, just to add 38 on here. 38th. And I thought about using these iridescent ones. Is that iridescent? I think those are Michael brands as well to write birthday. Anyways, so I added that camera, added some letters there, chipboard letters that came from a Studio Calico kit, and those little hearts. I'm going to do the journaling right here. And then I think that would be pretty much it of the page. I know I'm going to stamp my birthday on here. I think I just had to try to figure out where I wanted to stamp it. So yeah, so now I'm gonna add the journaling about how this was a surprise birthday party that my husband threw for me, and just doing it right there off on that white side so it'd be legible to read. Gonna add the date stamp as well to it, and like I said, I added the camera vellum camera that I had in my stash, and then those chipboard phrases as well. And then I also, if you see on the left-hand side there of the screen, there's some like silver um, phrases to them add as well to it. So I'm just gonna add the date stamp there underneath the journaling. And then I realized I had those that I still wanted to use, and so I'm just trying to figure out where I'm gonna put it. But I think I end up deciding to put it down there with the other phrases. I'm just going to use one of those puffy 3M puffy stickers. So looking and seeing it there, I just didn't like it. It just felt odd, just floating there. Just trying to figure out, like I said, where I'm going to place it. And then I decided I like it right above the others. So this will be it for this layout. So thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.